Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. My name is Eric Senft. I'm going to be your host here for the next little while. For those of you who are new to our trading room, welcome. I'm going to give you a really quick overview of what you're looking at here. This is the diversified trading system. And it's diversified because we're looking at the markets from three different points of view. First, here in the top left, we have the Hawk Scalper. The top right is the Falcon Swing Trader. The bottom left is the Eagle Trend Trader, and the bottom right is the latest addition to the DTS family. This one is called the Raptor. The Raptor is kind of a hybrid. It's a blending of the other three tools. It incorporates elements of the Hawk, the Falcon, and the Eagle. The charts you're looking at here are the NASDAQ. I'm also monitoring soybeans and crude oil, but I would be happy to take a look at any market which is of interest to you. I'm sure we probably have at least one e-mini trader in the room. If you're interested in some of the currencies and so on, I can take a look at those also. So we just had the opening bell. And well, let's take a look at where we've been relative to the overnight, where we might be going. One second here as I get myself organized. Okay, so let's just take a quick look here at the overnight. I guess we'll take a look at the overnight here on the Eagle, and you can see relatively quiet to what it has been. The market finally rallied yesterday. We were expecting it to rally most of the session. It didn't. Actually headed lower early on, and then by the time the afternoon session hit, going into the close, we saw a little bit of a rally here. That continued through the Asian session and into the European session, but not very much. It stalled out rather quickly and developed this little bit of a sideways range where we find ourselves right now. So a little bit touch and go where we're going to get our direction going this morning. Oh, Jim says the high frequency traders in Tokyo pulled an amazing recovery last night, 1,300 points. Yep. Nothing surprises me anymore, or very little surprises me. Jim's also shooting me some advanced decline numbers here. So we got 2,000 buyers and about 300 sellers. So a fairly bullish advanced decline at 1,700 positive. But again, that's kind of relative, so we'll kind of see where it goes from there. Zaman is asking, does the mean Renko bar repaint? No. Once it prints that particular color, that's the color that it stays. It does not change its mind. And regarding demos and such, I will let you talk to Adam about that. Adam at indicatorwarehouse.com, and I'm going to shoot you his email address. If anybody has any questions regarding purchasing the software and so on, Adam is the fellow you want to talk to. But generally speaking, that's part of the purpose for having these open house rooms, so that you can see how the software works. And for some of the software here that you're going to see here this morning, some of the add-ons and so on, you can also follow this link, and that will have some pricing information and further information about each of the tools also. Zaman is asking, even if I look back 10 days later, even if you look back a year later, it will not repaint. No, there's certain parameters that the bars have to meet in order to print the color that they are. So no, they don't repaint. All right, let's see if we can find ourselves a half decent signal to take advantage of this morning. We got a here on the Hawk. It's still early. I'm trying not to get too excited, but we've got a first micro macro cross / macro pullback type thing going on here. What's giving me a little bit of pause are all these yellow bars that you see here on the Hawk scalper. These yellow bar clusters tend to, especially when they're all printing at more or less the same latitude as they are here, a lot of traders refer to this phenomenon as barbed wire, and you can see why. The market's pretty much balanced on either side of this line. And just like barbed wire, it's pretty easy to hurt yourself. So we tend to stay away, at least until we can get something a little clearer. Let's take a look here on the Raptor, what's going on. Same kind of thing. You can see where we've got a lot of yellow bar clusters through here. We are taking a little bit of a bounce off of the hard edge of our cloud. So our trading band gives us our directional bias, very bullish yesterday or toward the end of yesterday. And now we're kind of in this little bit of a sideways range. The best thing to do when you encounter a ranging market like this, and I'm going to show you again on the Eagle because it's a little bit more obvious. When you have a market that is stuck within a range like so, the best thing to do is actually wait it out. We're going to produce signals inside here. Right now we're producing a red bar buy. This very well may continue higher, and we may throw an order on here just so I can demo how some of the software works for you. But really the best thing to do is just let it get out of here. Get outside of this range. It will retest. And once you get that retest, you can look for your buy signal. And likewise to the downside. Let it get out of here, retest, and look for your sell signal. If you do that, you're going to possibly generate a much stronger signal. Now, as traders, we're always scared to death that the market's going to run away on us. Hey, that's a part of trading, right? Sometimes the market's going to bolt, but as I like to say, I would rather be out of a trade wishing I was in than in a trade wishing I was out. Okay, we're getting a comparable signal here with the Hawk. We're also getting a first micro macro cross. This is a buy signal. And we were getting a trend change signal here on the Falcon also. The beginnings of a trend change signal. All the signals develop the same way. First, we're going to get a warning dot along with a audio alert to tell us which tool is producing the signal. See here on the Hawk, you see the warning dot. When the signal is complete, we're going to get a triangle and a hash mark. I don't know what time, how are we doing here? All right, you know what, I'm going to, oh, now we're into yellow bars again. I was going to throw an order in and give it a go, but we're back into yellow bars, so that nixes everything. We'll see if we can come out of here with a red bar buy. That might be worth a try. Was a red bar buy for a second, and now it too has fallen apart. So the market not really interested in going anywhere just at the moment. Oops, spoke too soon. We're getting a green bar sell here on the Eagle, and we're trading near the bottom end of the trading range. We'll see if we get a second push on this entry. This bar right here was actually our signal bar, the one that turned the ATR filter over. We're going to be a little bit late, but you know what? It might be better to enter on the other side of that anyhow. All right, so there we go. We're going to try to sell this market down now. And I guess I'd better get some stops in order here. So with the trade manager, for those of you who haven't seen this before, we've got 16 different stop strategies to choose from. And each one is customizable. Oh, come on. I may choose to hold my stop actually back where it was until we can ride out this first swing. Again, as I showed you before, right, when we're getting this breakout, we're going to get this little bit of a retest happening. That's what we're seeing right now. And now if we come out and we generate a signal off of this reaction, that's going to be a much higher probability signal. The one I took was a little bit more ambitious, but we'll see. If we can get going here, I'll be able to show you how the trade manager actually manages your stops for you, and will roll them according to your stop strategy. All right, come on, get down there. All right, we're also getting a macro pullback signal here in the hawk. So there's a possibility for a scalp lower. And we're working on a trend change signal to the downside. I would really like to see this bar finish lower. That'll give me a great opportunity to roll my stop in above the high of this bar. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for evidence that the sellers have come back into the market. We've sold. I want to know where the other sellers are. And once we get that, then I'll be able to manage my trade a little bit more aggressively. Come on, sellers. Where'd you go? I know you're around here somewhere. Come on down. All right, I'm hearing other signals. Okay, back into yellow bars. Now the hawk is actually producing a 4-arrow consolidation. This is the only signal I will consider taking off of the yellow bar. And it's going to run away on me a bit. Let's see if I can set it up like that. No, sorry, a little bit late getting to that one. But we should be able to get to our profit target on that. We've got a little bit of an opening gap this morning. I'm hoping that the market might try to get into that opening gap, give me a little bit of relief on this trade. Okay, now we've got Well, sort of the makings of a first micro macro cross signal. Let's see if I can sneak that one in. This again, a lot more aggressive. We're still fairly early into the day. Oh, and it's quarter to the hour. This tends to be my least favorite time of the day to trade because the market will throw me a knuckleball type signal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the bar high low strategy here. It's going to be a lot more aggressive. We're just going to give this trade, well, here, we'll give it a chance to start. All right, now I'm going to go with the bar high low. Oh, I don't even need to. Snap the trade, hit the break-even trigger, got to the break-even target. Hooray! Nice little scalp there off of the first micro macro cross signal, which tends to be a very high probability signal for us. And do I have an opportunity to roll my stop? I do. And I'm going to go with the bar high low strategy on the Eagle now. So essentially it's looking as though the sellers have stepped back into the market here. So I'm just going to be a little bit more aggressive with my stop. If the reason is that if the sellers fail at this point, well, I might as well take my loss early because chances are that they're going to back up on me in a big way. Okay, major struggle at these lows. Oh, fantastic. Hit our break-even trigger. Come on, get down there. Come on. How are we for open profit? Oh, a little over $100. Our trade forecaster actually suggesting that we're going to be in trend mode for 102 minutes today. So that would be wonderful. The trade forecaster, by the way, this is an add-on tool. You can add this to any chart that you're trading, whether it's a DTS chart or not. Now you can see how the bar high low strategy, that's these blue dots, is managing my trade. It's rolling it down according to the parameters I've set. If I went with, say, something like parabolics, it would adjust the trade via the parabolic strategy. See, we've hit our break-even trigger. That's why it's got the stop here at break-even. But if the market continued lower, and you see how these dots are beginning to print, it would pick up my stop and bring it in a little bit tighter. Looks like we're just about to hit our profit objective. I'm going to go back with the bar high-low strategy, try to lock in a little bit more open profit. There we go. We'll save $100. And they're just kissing our profit target. Come on, get down there. Yeah, Doyle says, funny how we talk to things as if they could hear us. Yep, I know. I talk to the computer a lot. Sorry about that. At least I keep it fairly clean. Every once in a while I have to mute. All right, so there we go. We hit our high probability profit target. a lot of times when we hit our high probability targets, we will see a little bit of a reversal. So I'm just as happy to be out of here. We'll see whether it starts to shallow up on the bottom end of this trading channel that I've drawn. And there's nothing special about this channel. I only throw a trend line on there to try to get a feel for what other traders are seeing. And if we start to shallow up here, if we start to fail on the bottom end of this trading channel, that's actually going to be a little bit bullish. We might see the market make a run here to the top side and maybe even break out. Yeah, like Floyd says, the knuckleball was a winner. Wasn't it just? It was bobbing and weaving, and I do my best not to get too crazy with my stops. If, for those of you who've been in the trading room with me for a while, know if I have a trading fault, well, we all have trading faults, but my trading fault is I tend to get a little bit too cute with my stops. So I do my best to keep them out of harm's way as long as possible. So not bad for 15 minutes work. We got a nice little winner here on the scalp and nice little winner there on the Eagle Trend Trader. We had a comparable signal here on the Raptor, this nice little hard edge bounce right here after the breakout. You see we got the same kind of thing going on. This is almost textbook, where we break out, come back, retest, come out, produce a signal. See right there, a triangle, hash mark, down she goes. The hard edge bounce on the Raptor is actually one of the signals that we tend to focus on. It tends to be a higher probability signal. We don't necessarily take every single signal that you see print here. We do have a set of high probability signals that we tend to focus on. That's why you'll hear me refer to things like the macro pullback signal, which is what we got right here in the hawk, and I do believe that one found its profit target also. Yep, just hit its profit objective. Or 4-arrow consolidation as we had back here. First micro macro cross. Those are all high probability signals that we tend to focus on. Okay, I can see by the Falcon here and our support and resistance suite that we're just encountered the median line. This, by the way, is another add-on. You don't need to have DTS for this particular tool. It will work on any chart. Let's see, did we even take a bounce off of the primary? Oh, we did. Broke out, hit the primary resistance from the underside. Took a while, but eventually drifted back to the median. And we'll see if we take a bounce off of the median line, it may well drift down here to the primary support. But overall today, in spite of our early sell, the market is a little bit more bullish. We had that big run up yesterday, a little bit of a run up in the overnight. So I may not get too crazy on the sell side. Here on the Raptor, I've got another add-on tool. This is called the Geiger counter. And this is essentially a tape reader. So we've got the time and sales, the bid and the ask. So you can see we had a little bit of a spike right here in the selling. Seems to have been absorbed. So that might have been a blowout on the sell side. We'll see here in a moment how that plays out. Well, advanced decline getting a little weaker. Jim says we got 1985 on the buy side and 750 on the sell side. So that's what, about 1250, give or take? 1200? Down from the earlier 1700. So that's starting to look a little bit bearish. But we'll see how it plays out. Try to trade what's going on our charts, not so much predict what is likely to happen. Ooh, a couple late filter entries here on the Falcon. A nice one right here. Working on another one here. I don't want to get too many of these late filter entries in a row. As with any signal, we don't want to see the signal repeat too often. All right, let's see if we can catch a second push on this one. Now, the late filter entry signal is one of our higher probability signals also. It tends to occur, or the way it occurs is the trend line never changes color. See how the trend line stayed red here the whole time? The filter goes out of sync and then, very important, it comes back into sync. I don't know if my stop's going to be far enough away to ride this one out. Come on, get down there. Come on, you get down there. So we'll just let that simmer for a moment. Again, I'm going to look for an opportunity maybe to employ a different stop strategy, get it down a little bit. The nice thing about the trade manager is even if this trade does go sideways on me and it stops me out, I've limited my risk. I've controlled my risk to only 2% of my trading capital. Very important. What Trade Manager does is it automatically sizes your positions so you never end up risking more than you can afford to lose. It's very important because that's what most traders do wrong is they risk far more than they can afford to lose. They take a hit, puts a dent in their account, and pretty soon they're not able to trade anymore. The other big mistake that a lot of traders make is that they don't maximize their profit. So the trade manager actually does both for you. It maximizes your profitability while managing your risk exposure. And I'm just debating whether I want to start rolling my stop on this. I think I will. You know that? I think I'm only going to give them to the other side of the median line. This higher swing low here is giving me pause. And after just mentioning to you how I can tweak myself out of a perfectly good trade, you may just see that. I need one more red bar in here just to be sure that the sellers are stepping up. Come on, sellers. All right, so the bears are trying to step in here. So that tells me that there's active selling at these levels here around the 43.35 mark. Oh, come on. Where'd you go? No, they're going to tap me here in a moment. All right, well, it looks as though they might be done. So this first late filter entry would have traded low enough to hit the profit objective. The second one, though, it's printing too soon, and we actually got an early trend change signal going on here. We'll see now whether or not my initial stop would have held me in. I have a feeling not. We'll see if we can't catch a trend change signal to the upside there. Crude inventory today. Oh no, crude inventory tomorrow. Crude inventory normally today, but because of the Labor Day holiday, we don't get to trade the inventory report today. All right, well, still, all right, here we go. We're working on a trend change signal to the upside. This is a very aggressive trade for those of you who might be looking for a trade to follow me in on. Just so you know, we're essentially trying to pick up a bottom here. Not the easiest thing to do. Believe it or not, the market is still seems a little bit on the bullish side, even though prices are floundering a bit. All right, here we've got a first micro macro cross and the hawk. Again, this is a very, very aggressive posture. The nice thing about this particular trade is I can cover it below the lows. So if we get a full-on reversal here, then if it takes me out at the lows, I definitely know I'm on the wrong side of the trade, and here we are back into yellow bars. Working now on a red bar buy, which is another one of our signals, and if it drifts any lower, that's going to nix that. So the red bar buy, quite simply, a red bar with a buy signal. We're getting green dots. Once again, just shows us, you see all these yellow bars here? See how our filter is breaking up? We're entering another period of congestion here. And doggone it if I didn't get out of that Falcon trade too soon. I should have held my stop back. Why didn't I just gnaw on my tongue until it bled? I would hit my profit target. So the late filter entry, initially I set it up like this, above that high. Oh well. It was a small loss, but could have been profitable had I sat on my hands a little bit longer. Geiger counter giving us another spike here in the selling. That's a serious spike. You can see now it's starting to even out a little bit, the needle color going neutral again. Let's get that over there. Oh well. It won't be the last trade that I tank. All right, nobody's asked me yet, but I'm going to load up the E-mini here. I'm sure there's somebody dying to know what's going on in the E-mini today. Should be more or less what we're seeing here in the NASDAQ as well. All right, so chart's almost loaded. Sorry, my poor computer is overwhelmed between the screen sharing software and the recording software and running 10 different charts. It's kind of bogging down a little bit. All right, so here's the E-mini on the Hawk scalper. And I'll turn off the stop strategies. Nice first micro-macro cross here. This, again, we had that sideways channel. This was a little bit more evident here actually on the E-mini. The little breakout, quick little retest, so you had several opportunities here. We had a first micro-macro cross, we had a macro pullback, and we had a 4-arrow consolidation, all printing in the same region. But regardless of which one you took advantage of, nice progression lower. Here's the E-mini now on the Falcon, the swing trader. And this one actually, our signal printed back here. This was our trend change / trend line touch signal. You would have had to be a little bit more conservative with your stop. Although even this one didn't pull back quite as high, so you might have been able to ride out the swing a little easier than what I did on the NASDAQ. No late filter entry signal here. You see the filter went out of sync, so did the trend line. So that is not a late filter entry signal. That voids this signal here, although some of you might consider it to be an early trend change signal. But this was the signal back here that we would have had to nurse, but it too found its profit objective. And last but not least, let's take a look at the Eagle Trend Trader, where we have, actually we had a rule of 3 print here. 1, 2, 3. Wow, almost textbook. So the rule of 3 is actually our counter trend signal on the Eagle Trend Trader, and it develops when you're keep printing sell signals against a bullish band or vice versa. And we did get several tests at the extreme here. The signal confirmed right here, And now we've also produced a with trend signal, a soft edge bounce. And it looks like that was having some follow through too. But that rule of 3 signal, the one that we sold on the NQ right there, easily found our first profit target. And with the E-mini, I'm stretching the objective a little bit. We're not quite there yet. But it looks like there'd be about $400 in open profit. So you know I would be getting a lot more aggressive with my stops on that one. No way I would be letting $400 get away. But right now we're back to this sideways action. And not much we can do with it, really. We could, chase it around a bit, but nothing really tradable. Not if we're looking to make some money anyway. Here on the Raptor, this is almost like a double pullback signal. All right, I'll take it below, I'll take it below the low. All right, we'll just plug in a sell order. Now that's the Trailblazer. This is the trade management software I'm using on the Raptor. The Trailblazer is essentially a one-click system. And the advantage there is, as you just saw, I just have to click and automatically I've got my entry. And once I enable all this, I'll also get my stop. So the NQ fighting itself here a little bit. With, like I mentioned before, though, once you identify a market that's moving generally in a sideways direction, the best thing to do, and here let's go back to the Eagle because it's going to be a little bit more evident on the Eagle again. Well, maybe not quite so much. It's not as prolonged a sideways move as what we saw back here. But if you have a market that's stuck moving sideways, very often the best thing to do is just let it get outside that range and then retest and produce a signal for you. So you'll notice the big difference here between the Trailblazer and the trade managers. We don't have this risk component built in. So when you take a position, you need to know approximately what your average risk size should be so you don't end up blowing your account up. Okay, come on down. Give me another lower bar and then I'll know for sure that the sellers are pressing, and then that will once again give me a level at which I can cover the trade at. So our trend line looking more or less like this. Ooh, look at how shallow we're getting here at the bottom end of this trading range. Pardon me. Might be a little better. Okay, so we've started to move a little bit lower. I'm going to switch to a more aggressive stop strategy now. I'm going to go with parabolics. I'm going to cover above this little swing high. And hopefully we will see them press a little bit lower still. Come on. Come on. You can do it. The advanced decline still fading a bit. Jim says 19, oh, sorry, that's an old number. 1,900 buyers, 700 sellers. Ah, you scoundrels. Don't you dare. I'm going to hold my stop just above this high right there. Yeah, I thought it might have been evening up a little bit. 1,700 buyers, 1,000 sellers, Jim says. So the advanced decline now down to about a positive 700. And we started at a positive 1,700, so that explains why we're seeing the market tail off a little. Okay, last chance for the sellers now. If they fail at this point, they will reverse and trade back through my high. So I could even do like a bar high low if I wanted, something more aggressive still. Although it looks as though the bar high low and the parabolic's pretty much parked in the same neighborhood at the moment. So this low right here at 43.22 is a big deal. Maybe Joe's in the room and you can throw a monster order in there, Joe. Force the market down for me. All right, let's see somebody take 43.22, and we should see the buyers get trapped out of their position. Come on, there we go. All right, there we go. Now we got some follow through. We hit our break-even trigger, and we'll see whether or not we can nurse this to our profit target. Come on, you can do it. Oh, so close. All right, we'll go with the bar high low now. Protect just a little bit more profit. I'll go one bar back. So at least we'll cover commissions and fees. And what do we got in open profit? Oh, about $150. The way the market is today, I'm really tempted just to grab that 150. But we're in the room. We'll see if we can't sneak it out. No, they're going to tap me here in a sec. Oh, so close. Just sitting above the profit target. And now they're going to turn around and give me a little bit of a tap. But that's all right. We still took a little bit of profit out of the trade. Come on. Man, they're really making us work for this one. Oh, whew. Okay, now with the With the Trailblazer here, I actually had profit target on one of my contracts. I've got a runner on the other. So, oh, no, I was going to say, we'll see whether they run a little bit further. You'll see how the trade manager can manage your trade for you a little bit further, or the Trailblazer. But it doesn't look like it was going to go much more. You know, when the market's trading like it is today, I think very often you're better off just being all in, all out. All right, well, that was okay. We'll just have to wait for our next opportunity. I'm still expecting the buyers to come in here a little bit stronger than what they have been, but hey, we're making money to the short side, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, Jim says the NQ is stronger than the rest. The NQ can be a funny duck. So you can compare the NQ on the Eagle down here. This was the E-mini, and you can see nice steady progression. A little neater and tidier than what's going on here in the NQ. All right, well, let's see what else is going on. Not much going on in crude oil today. The market did move a little bit lower. Here's crude oil on the Falcon. Our trend change signal developed rather late. It actually produced right here. You would have taken a little bit of heat on this trade, which is not really the way we want to start a position, and actually very rare. Usually once the signal prints, we get immediate momentum, but not so in this case. I had a nice late filter entry signal right here on crude. and you can see a decent progression out of that one. But this market's still really searching for some sort of direction. Probably get that out of tomorrow's crude inventory. Or no doubt that's what traders are anticipating, kind of hedging themselves a bit. And right now we're just kind of in limbo. But a half decent morning even so. All right, here's our another buy signal. The others never had any follow through on it. This is our first micro macro cross signal. I'm a little reluctant to take this one because we haven't really had a test of the extreme yet. But you know what? There's nothing else going on right now, so we'll toss an order in here in a moment. Now, this is not one I would necessarily recommend. It probably will work out, but it wasn't as good looking as some of the other trades. So now I'm in video game mode. Usually if I have the market paying off one direction, I tend to stay with it, but things do seem to be getting a little bit stronger. So we'll see if we can't capture a buy. All right, and what I'm doing is I'm just working the order down. As the signal retreats, I can tighten my entry parameters. In fact, I'm going to take this one right on the hash mark. It's going to be right there. Kind of looking at this old support area to be holding the market up if I get engaged to the long side. Oh, the advanced decline also getting a little bit stronger, Jim says. 1,800 buyers, 900 sellers, more or less. And now we're back into yellow bars. So that nixes that idea. Possible trend change signal here on the Falcon. Green bar sell on the Eagle. That's actually a pretty good sell signal. This tends to be one of our higher probability sell signals. That was what we sold up here, the green bar sell. With the Eagle filter, you kind of look for a shift in momentum. You see how, well, if I take it back here, we had this huge green block, then a little red block. Oh, smaller green block. Oh, bigger red block. That's kind of telling you that some of the momentum is turning over. These through here, they're just trading punches. Buyers and sellers trying to gain control. And then it looks like the buyers have control, and then it's all of a sudden, oh no, the sellers have control. These two little guys, again, don't count. Here's a little bit of a buy attempt, and then all of a sudden the sellers step in and take the market down. And now the buyers are trying. We'll see the sellers try. When they're even like this, it doesn't really count as much as when we start to see one side get stronger than the other. In this case, I think we're going to see the buyers start to exert a little bit of pressure on them. Getting a trend change signal or the beginnings of a trend change signal now on the Falcon. I can anticipate this signal to print right there. This high is the big deal here. If you wanted to be safer, an entry above the high would be much better. Show a little bit more commitment. Zaman is asking, what referral do I have to ask Adam to get a trial in NinjaTrader? Well, if you're talking about the NinjaTrader charts themselves, the trials are free. You can just go to NinjaTrader.com for that and download a copy of Ninja. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to manage this trade. If the buyers are actually going to try to take the market higher, I'm going to give them a chance here. So the buyers stop the market down here. That's why I always try to run my stop below a significant swing point, because it shows you the limits, right? This shows you the limit of where the sellers were able to take the market and the limit of where the buyers start to get more aggressive. Okay, Zaman is asking regarding trials on the indicators that we're featuring here. Well, that's part of the reason, like I said, that we have the open house room, is that so you can see how these indicators actually work before purchasing them. There are no trials of DTS per se. You know, where you can play with it for 30 days and then it shuts itself off. Okay, buyers, where'd you go? So I can tell from these swing highs here that we're working ourselves into another sideways range. And that number right there, 41.31.5, is going to be a big deal. That's a number we got to get above. All right, buyers showing themselves a little bit. I would much prefer two bullish bars. I make it very easy to roll below here. And it's not to say that I'm going to be right on the trade, but I'm just looking for a reasonable place to put my stop, a place to say, Eric, you're definitely wrong about this trade. Time to cut your losses. Get out. For those of you who don't know it yet, I hate to tell you, but you will take losing trades in trading. And I think that spot right there is going to be it. Because we're working on a trend change signal now to the downside. So that was the best effort the buyers could do. I rolled my stop and I saved myself some money on that. For the most part, though, you do want to stay with the trend. Like, I think it's fairly obvious we're in a downtrend today. And as a trading room moderator, you know, I have certain perks. I can show you some things that I wouldn't necessarily do. Here's that green bar sell we were looking at. This is the bar that turned the ATR over, so effectively this becomes our signal bar. And we would be looking to send this one lower to the bottom end of this trading range. I tend to have a habit also that if I have a winning trade in one direction, I'll tend to stay with that direction as much as possible. So today we've been making all our money on the short side. Andrea, welcome. Andrea says, hello, sorry, but I just arrived. Question, the DTS logic counter, is that the one that plots the dot and the triangle? No, that is the DTS itself. The logic counter is this little tool that you see at the end of this bar. Because the mean Renko bar, which is the chart style that we're using here for DTS, is a range style bar, we can actually predict what the high of the bar will be or what the low of the bar will be, depending which way it finishes. So that's actually what the logic counter is. The signals themselves print according to the parameters in the programming. And there's a lot more going on than what you see here on the chart. The charts have actually been stripped down to make them reasonably easy to interpret. We didn't want to clutter them up too much, but there's about a half a dozen parameters that have to be met before you even print a warning dot. And then when all the trade parameters are in place, you get a triangle and a hash mark. So that tells you that you have a fully formed signal. And now it's time to make a decision. As I mentioned earlier, we don't necessarily trade every single signal. This is the Hawk scalper, and you can see quite a few signals printing in here. What we do is we tend to focus on the higher probability signals. So that would mean things like a first micro-macro cross, which is right there. Here's another first micro-macro cross. Here is a macro pullback. And actually, this whole series right here was a 4-arrow consolidation and a green bar sell. So we had a lot of signals overlapping in this particular region right here. In fact, let me show you. We have what we call a cheat sheet, which helps you focus on the higher probability signals, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what we call a cheat sheet, and you'll see that we're not focusing on every signal. This is for the Hawk scalper. Rather, we're looking at the higher probability setups, like the first micro-macro cross, the macro pullback, the 4-arrow consolidation, the post 4-arrow consolidation, and the red bar buy or green bar sell. You can see there are several signals through here that we totally ignored, not because they didn't work out, but because they were not as probable. So these are the signals we tend to focus on. We have similar signals for the other tools, and we review them every day in the trading room. But the logic counter, I believe, is also an add-on that you can purchase if you're using a range type bar, either a Renko bar or a range bar or some derivative of that. It's very helpful, I find, to know where that bar is going to finish so that I can plan my trade accordingly. So here we're getting another macro pullback signal. I'm a little bit late on the signal, but that's where the hash mark printed. And the hash market really is just a suggested entry. Sometimes you'll see me place my entry a little bit lower. Sometimes I'll go right on the hash mark, depending how aggressive I want to be. The tricky part for this particular trade is how deep do I want to cover the stop? I'll probably cover it to there and no problem finding our profit target. And now we're floundering a little bit. The market very often will make some sort of pause or even reversal, not permanent reversal, but short-term reversal after we encounter our profit objectives for our high probability profit targets. Okay, I think, let's go back here. I think we've traded into the overnight gap, so the session finished right about here somewhere yesterday. And it opened up here. So all this down here would have looked like an opening gap. And it looks like, oh, we still have a little ways to go, but we've made our way at least halfway into that gap, which very often is enough for the market. Oh, a big blowout on the sell side. Jim says the ticks just ran to a -1,000. So we'll see whether or not they fade against that now and actually trade a little bit higher. Could be a little bit of profit taking going on. Could be that the buyers just got flushed. You can see here on the Geiger counter we had a little bit of a spike in the selling. Looks like it was absorbed though. Look at the other side of that. Yeah, we keep paying off on the sell side. Ooh, and look at this here on the Falcon. We just hit the primary support. A lot of times when you take a bounce off of the primary support or resistance levels, as we did back here in the wee hours of the European session, traded back down here to the median line around the North American Open. I was going to say it's going to move two zones, but I was a little reluctant. But it did move two zones. It's down here to the primary support now on our ultimate support and resistance suite. So that would have been a very nice profit objective. And we'll see how they react to that. Wow, the advanced decline almost even up. 1468 buyers, 1358 sellers. So a whole 110 to the positive side. That's a huge drop off from the 1700 that we began with. So that's, again, adding a little bit of a bearish flavor to the market today. But the DTS does all the heavy lifting for us. Like I said, we just need to be alert for the high probability signals, like the green bar sell here on the Eagle. So we had one here, good follow through, nice one up here, actually two, very good follow through. More first micro macro crosses and macro pullbacks this morning than I can count. Lots and lots of opportunities here on the Hawk. The Falcon has been waffling a little bit more this morning than usual. Well, actually, we did have that trend change signal there. That had good follow through. Late filter entry signal here. This is the one I got a little bit too aggressive with my stop on. But it did eventually work out had I held my stop like I was supposed to. And that was about it for the Falcon, actually. So a pretty quiet day for the swing trader. Stronger day for the trend trader, but our trade forecaster did suggest that we were going to be in full-on trend mode today, and for the next 3/4 of an hour, it says that we're still going to be in trend mode. So that'll be very welcome. The trend mode doesn't always mean that the market's going to make a major move. Very often it will, but rather that the trading should be a little smoother. No real violent swings. Getting some mixed signals out of the crude oil market. The Hawk is starting to produce a first micro macro cross signal. Did break this little swing high. We might see it trade a little bit higher. We don't have the complete signal yet. I'm just anticipating where the signal will print. The problem with crude oil is I'd love to cover the trade down here, but Trade Manager won't let me. It says you don't have enough money, or at least not when I'm risking 2% of my capital. I could dial that up a little bit. Can I risk it down there? Nope, still out of reach. That's the thing with crude, it's pretty darn expensive. So I could do that. I could try that one on crude oil. Okay, we'll put that back on the shelf. Way to go, Mark. Mark says, good morning, Eric. I took the early part of the week off, which is a very good idea after a long weekend. But today is made up for it. I hit 3 for 3 trades in the Eagle on the E-mini for a single contract at $250 each. I'm up $750 for the day. Nicely done, Mark. He says the support and resistance suite has been performing nicely this morning on the E-mini Eagle. I've got my support and resistance suite here on the Falcon, but let's take a look. Yeah, so a nice little support here off of the median line, the breakdown, and right down here to the primary support. And look at that, hit the primary resistance on the number, and then bounced and sent it lower. I'm like a proud papa with the support and resistance suite. There's a lot of math behind that one, folks. It took a long time to crunch the numbers on that thing. right, so no real opportunity presenting itself just yet. The Falcon again working on a trend change signal, but the trend obviously down today, so I think your better opportunity will still be to sell. Could be a little bit of profit taking going on here. So if you're following a trend line of sorts, you might want to, rather sell at the top end of the trend line versus the bottom end. It's not to say it can't go lower from the bottom end, but it's more likely that you'll have a better trade with a signal off at the top end. And this will definitely make up for yesterday's rally in the NQ and others. All right, you know what? Here's the problem with the crude oil. We had the first micro-macro cross signal, which is bullish in the hawk, and we're working on a green bar sell here in the eagle. So we're getting conflicting signals. But this is a demo room, so I'm going to show you the first micro-macro cross signal here on crude oil. And I'm going to engage my stops and set my order. I'm going to leave my stop a little deeper. Not the strongest looking trade right now, folks. Like I said, if you're looking for a signal to follow me on, an entry above the high would be preferable, and now we're into yellow bars, so I can't even show you that one. Crude oil not cooperating one bit. Oh, we are getting a red bar buy. So we've got the warning dot. Nice thing about the red bar buy is we're essentially trying to buy a swing low. Don't know if we're going to get any follow through on this, because here too, the market very much in a downtrend. Thing with the red bar buy and its counterpart, the green bar sell, you can always, here was another red bar buy. You can always set up the failure. Right? I can always set up to short it. And likewise here, if this red bar buy actually prints as a red bar buy, I could do an OCO order. We haven't done one of those this morning. We'll see whether or not that prints, and I'll show you how the OCO order works. Okay, well, I know my buy stop is going to be up here. And I'm going to enter my sell stop. With the OCO order, you need to be aware these orders are live the moment you put them on your chart. So in this case, I'm placing the order away and I'm going to roll it in if the signal prints. Because this bar that we're currently working on, this is a very conflicted bar. We've got the sellers trying to move the market lower. Buyers are apparently stepping in, trying to force the market higher. So whichever way this bar breaks, we should see the market move a little bit in that direction. But we haven't printed a signal just yet. So I can adjust my red bar buy parameters here. We're still getting the warning dots. Now, OCO, for those of you not familiar with the term, stands for one cancels other. So the idea here is that, well, here, this is close enough. We're in a demo room. Whichever way the order fills, it's going to cancel the order on the other side. So I'm only going to have one position. And we don't have a signal just yet. I'm only demonstrating the OCO to you. I guess, okay, now we have a signal. So we have our red bar buy signal. And one tick higher, it's going to fill the OCO. And if it breaks through the lows, it'll fill the OCO to the short side. Otherwise, it's just going to keep moving sideways. You would never think this is crude oil. Come on. Oh my gosh. Well, you may end up having to take my word for it. Oh man, what a stuck market. The thing with the red bar buy and the green bar sell is that very often you can use it as a early warning also, because it is a weaker signal and our only counter trend signal really. If this market starts to rally, we will get a first micro macro cross signal, very likely somewhere around here. And if it breaks down and heads lower, we'll probably get a first micro macro cross lower somewhere around here. I was just trying to demonstrate this to you and it's not letting me. But the idea behind the OCO is, oh, almost there we go. Oops, what did they do there? Well, there you go, you got the breakout. I must have set something wrong on my OCO. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for today's trading room. Thank you very much for joining us, especially those of you who have been here for the first time. I hope that you at least got a little bit of something out of the room. DTS owners, I will see you in the trading room again tomorrow morning. And hopefully the market will be behaving as well tomorrow as it did today. Pretty good day today. If you're trading this afternoon, shoot, I really have a hard time believing that the buyers are walking away from the market given what's been going on the last couple of days. And now that the opening range gap has been filled, I don't know if we're going to see a move to the upside. I wouldn't rule it out, at least maybe a short-term type move, a little bit of profit taking. But the trend is definitely down today. So I suppose if I had to choose, I would probably stay with the sellers. All right, you guys, good luck, and I will catch you again tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.